In today's modern information age, we sometimes forget there are still some remarkably isolated areas of the world left where few white men have ever set foot. Arunachal Pradesh, a state in northeast India, nestled between China, India, Myanmar, and Bhutan, is one such place. The world has largely forgotten about Arunachal, which means land of the dawn. Contains the world's largest mountain range to the north, the Himalayas, deep impenetrable jungles and river valleys in the central parts, and more accessible and fertile areas in the south. There are a little over 1 million people in the whole state, who are divided into more than 60 distinct tribes and language groups, making Arunachal Pradesh one of the most ethnically diverse areas in the world. Arunachal Pradesh truly is unique. In the 1940s, an Austrian anthropologist, Christoph von Führer-Heimmendorf, carrying a passport issued by the Third Reich, traveled to northeast India. After spending some time there and gaining the trust of local officials, the Indian government appointed him as political officer over the undeveloped area now called Arunachal Pradesh.
This message from him offered me a post under the government of India as special officer and assistant political officer on the northeast frontier, among the virtually unknown tribes which live in the mountains between Assam and Tibet.
Führer-Heimmendorf wanted the many isolated tribes of Arunachal to remain in their primitive state. He was fascinated with the practices of unrestrained premarital sex, headhunting, and tribal warfare, which he glamorized in his many presentations and writings.
We must protect tribal people. We must not think that they must be totally assimilated to the culture of the advanced sections of the population.
Unfortunately, he failed to acknowledge the many complex social and physical problems brought about by the very barbaric culture he endorsed. Neither did he recognize the countless families and victims who lost their heads. Führer-Heimmendorf also hated missionaries. He thought Christianity was foolish, and he despised the societal change that Christianity brought.
The Apatanis now, they are getting a bit confused because some of their students have gone to universities like Shillong and Guwahati, etc., where there are Christian Kasis, Christian Assamese, and so on, so they hear a bit about that. Now, these people who have been seen Christian pictures of heaven with clouds and so on, and also pictures of hell down below, they get confused, of course. And one elderly Apatani said, well, I'm not so sure as whether I really want to go down into the underworld. I think perhaps the life in the sky, maybe among the clouds, may be better.
He effectively persuaded the government of India to preserve Arunachal as a kind of anthropological zoo and ban all Christian missionaries and missionary activities.
In the northeast frontier, now called Arunachal Pradesh, in that territory, really, the situation of the tribals is far better than anywhere else. Because there is the so-called inner line policy, namely a policy that there is a line drawn between the tribal areas and the other parts of the country. Outsiders, also Indians, are not allowed to cross that line without special permission from government.
His highly restrictive inner line policy is strictly enforced today. Challenging requirements, paperwork, and excessive registration fees accompany every entry permit request. If one of these restricted area permits is granted, the duration is only 10 days long. An actual entry at the checkpoint is not guaranteed. The tribes of Arunachal Pradesh have survived for thousands of years without the slightest knowledge of the gospel. Many of them have been oppressed by satanic forces for countless centuries, without even the slightest sign of spiritual light to release them from their bondage. Few are even aware that Jesus Christ exists, or that He died for their sins 2,000 years ago. Late in 1999, the director of our Himalayan outreach ministry, Reverend Pahodo Sema, first learned about this unreached area. He was informed that many of its tribal groups had never heard the gospel of Jesus Christ. Early in 2000, he surveyed the area for 3 months and found the report to be true. He immediately began an outreach strategy. By 2001, Operation Mobilization confirmed our results when they published their findings regarding the area. The article stated, "The Buddhist people of West Arunachal, adjoining Bhutan, have had little opportunity to hear the gospel. There are no churches